of Shandaken Code has the sole authority to approve applications for the purpose of a public assembly in excess of 500 persons, and whereas the town board recognizes the benefit of public events to the economy of the town and also recognizes the necessity to provide adequate protections and a safe environment for its residents and participants alike. And whereas the town is in receipt of documentation illustrating compliance under the law, providing the necessary insurance, permits, security, parking, lighting, sanitation, emergency and evacuation requirements. And whereas the town board is satisfied with the application from the Phoenicia International Festival of the Voice for their event to be held in Phoenicia, New York on August 3 through 5, 2018, and I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member Discofani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Sam?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 8418, resolution appointing summer recreation director and assistant. Whereas under section 20, notes of decision 9 of the town law, the town board shall appoint all employees of the town. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Shandaken appoints the following personnel. Rayla Suzanne Hart, recreational director, $600 weekly. Manuela Jean Pierre, assistant recreation specialist, $400 weekly, for the purpose of coordinating and managing the town of Shandaken summer recreation program to run from Tuesday, July 10th, 2018, through and including Thursday, August 16th, 2018, and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member Discofani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Sam?
Yes.
Resolution 8518, resolution authorizing contract for use of Bel Air Beach for Shandaken Summer Recreation Day Camp. Whereas the town of Shandaken operates a summer recreation day camp for the benefit of its residents, and whereas the camp will operate from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Tuesdays through Thursdays from July 10th through August 16th, 2018, and whereas the Bel Air Day Use Area Beach is a local attraction that annually hosts our camp, and whereas the Olympic Regional Development Authority, or ORDA, currently operates the beach. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Shandaken Town Board authorize the Town Supervisor to enter into agreement with ORDA to operate the camp at the beach for the 2018 summer season and move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member Discofani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Sam?
Yes, that's the resolution.
Resolution 86-18, resolution authorizing contract with UCAT. Whereas the town of Shandaken summer recreation program runs from Tuesday, July 10th and Thursday to Thursday, August 16th, 2018. Whereas the Ulster County Area Transit UCAT system has provided us with the required daily transportation for the camp participants and counselors, excluding field trip dates of Wednesdays, August 1st and August 15th, 2018. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Shandaken Town Board authorize the Town Supervisor to enter into agreement with UCAT in order to provide said transportation for those dates for program participants and employees, and I move its adoption.
Second. Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member Discofani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarken?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Sam?
Yes.
Resolution 8718, resolution advertising for transportation bids for summer recreation program field trips. Whereas the town of Shandaken summer recreation program will be taking 2 field trips during the coming season. Therefore, be resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board advertise transportation bids for the following field trips. 1, 2 buses for round trip to and from the Statue of Liberty.
Actually, it should be Battery Park.
Okay.
You can't drive to the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, that's a good point. To Battery Park to see the Statue of Liberty. New York City, Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. And the second, 2 school buses round trip to and from Zoom, Durham, New York, Wednesday, August 15, 2018. All bids must be received by July 9th, 2018 at 3 p.m. at the Town Clerk's Office, Shandaken Town Hall, 7209 Route 28, Shandaken, New York, 12480. To be awarded at the Town Board meeting that night at 7 p.m. and moves its adoption.
I'll second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Salaman?
Yes.
Resolution 8818, appointing floodplain administrator. Whereas under section 20, notes of decisions 9 of the town law, the town board shall appoint employees of the town. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board of Shandaken appoints Robert A. Stanley to serve as floodplain administrator with no compensation for the fiscal year 2018, and I move its adoption.
Second?
Board Member Alba?
What are your qualifications?
Vote no. Vote no.
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yeah.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Salaman?
No.
Oh, yeah. Abstain. Just roll call.
Resolution.
That's that.
Resolution 8918, Marriage Officer Ricardo O'Connor. Whereas pursuant to New York State domestic relations laws, and the governing body of the municipality has the right to appoint marriage officers who shall have the authority to solemnize
The other thing.
solemnize a marriage within the territorial jurisdiction of such municipality, and which marriage shall be valid if performed in accordance with other provisions of laws, and whereas, according to the said law, the marriage officer appointment is valid for a period of 4 years, and officer shall receive no salary or wage, and is authorized to accept and keep up to $75 for each marriage that she officiates to be paid by or on behalf of the persons married, whereas Ricardo O'Connor, a resident of the town of Shandaken, has requested the town board to appoint her to the position of marriage officer for the period of 4 years, or until such time as her appointment is withdrawn pursuant to Domestic Relations Law 11-C, whichever comes first. Now therefore be it resolved that Ricardo O'Connor be appointed Town of Shandaken Marriage Officer. This resolution shall take effect immediately. Appointment expires June 4th, 2022, and move its adoption.
I'll second.
So Ricardo's one of our 3 marriage officiants. And she's been in for 4 years, and she's performed, and she may just witness one, which makes it legal because in this part of New York State, all of New York State except New York City, online marriage officiants are not legal. So when you go to Universal Church and you get married and you have somebody do it this way, you have a legal witness that will sign the legal papers. And this is the way the law reads. If the town appoints somebody that lives in the town and they cannot charge more than $75. But what's also good with all our officiants, that if something happens and their online friend can't do it, they can also perform the marriage. So with all the weddings up here and the amount of money it brings in this town, it's nice we do it legal. And we have these great people that do this, and they're really excellent. We have Maria Giannis and Christopher Trent also. So we're really grateful that they stepped up and did this. It's
Joyce,
wonderful service.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do they have to go to school for it?
No, they go in, we show them the paperwork, and what happens with the online officiants, they usually mess up the paperwork, and it's a big rigmarole with the state. So when they come into our office, we show them, and they just do whatever they do, and it's just the type of person, and they can actually do a very nice service, and people are very happy with all 3 of them. So it's been a really good service, and, So this is her, she'll be starting her 5th year doing this, and she loves it.
Oh, sure.
So it's great. Okay, so second, who did that? I did. Okay. Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Salaman?
Yes. Resolution 9018, support dedication of New York State Route 28 Bridge in Big Indian to honor fallen Fire Chief John Jody Rossels. Whereas in March of 2018, the town of Shandaken was saddened to hear of the unexpected loss of longstanding Fire Chief John Jody Rossels. And whereas the town and immediate community have noted Chief Rossels' commitment to his community through volunteerism and his lifelong devotion to volunteer firefighting. And whereas being that such dedication to community and volunteerism is becoming more rare with each passing day, and the town and community do not wish that dedication to be forgotten or lost to future generations. And whereas New York State is currently replacing the New York State Route 28 bridge over the Esopus in the vicinity of the Big Indian Oliveria Firehouse, and whereas the town wishes to have the bridge dedicated in Chief Rossets' name, therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of Shandaken makes this a formal request to the New York State government and its representatives, including Honorable Governor Andrew Cuomo, New York State Senator James Seward, New York State Assemblyman Kevin Cahill, and the New York State Department of Transportation to dedicate the New York State Route 28 bridge over the Esopus Creek in Big Indian, New York, 12410, in honor of decades of tireless devotion to its community and volunteer firefighting in the name of Fire Chief John Jody Rossels. I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Alba?
Yes.
Board Member DeScalani?
Yes.
Board Member Van Blarkum?
Yes.
Board Member Storm?
Yes.
Supervisor Stanley?
Yes. And just as a note, oddly enough, we did get a request from another person who was asking for a dedication, a portion of road or a section, and it came from Mike LaPaglia's family. Mike was a resident of the town of Shandaken. He was also the Ulster County Sheriff for a long period of time. So that may be coming up in the near future. So, with that, we will move on to open public comment. Yes,
Come to the microphone.
Harris, yes, step up.
Right up.
My name is Harris Cohn. I'm a full-time resident since 1989. I've been working in the community. I'd like to thank everyone here for their service, specifically people providing recreation to the children and the first responders who have a tough job. I'm here today to discuss a zoning issue. An R1 zone should, as far as I understand from the website, should not be handling transient guests, AKA this bed and breakfast issue. And it's creating a lot of, for me personally, and that's why I'm here, it's creating a problem because of trespass, just transient people shouldn't be operating in an R1 zone. And as far as I understand it, and if I'm corrected, I'll be, I'll say I'm sorry, but from what I see in the website, that should be being enforced. And wedding venues on R1 zones, bed and breakfast in R1 zones, it's, as far as what I see from the website, is a violation. And I'm hoping that there's a problem with the zoning officers, coming and going, but I'm hoping that something can be done about this issue. And I thank you for your time.
Harris, I can address that. So yours is not unique, your situation, and this is not unique to the town of Shandaken either. It's something that's really statewide and national. The problem is that it kind of circumvents the code, in that it's not something they can address directly sometimes through the code applications. The Airbnb specifically, like Airbnb, VRBO, many of these applications, it's not so much, if there's a business operating, like straight up, a wedding venue, a bed and breakfast, then that should be brought to the code officer's attention and he will address that through the code. But when it comes to somebody renting out their house for a weekend, it falls in this kind of gray area where sometimes the people actually live there for most of the year and just they want to go away, they go to Arizona or something and they say, hey, well, let me make some money while I'm away and rent my house for a period of time, make some extra income. So it's been a gray area for some time. I know our planning board and Warren talked before you were leaving, they had looked at it several times. Last I had heard, there was some kind of draft legislation that the planning board was possibly looking at, and it was going to entail like a, what do they call it? Temporary revocable permit. So it would be like, they have these out there where you would basically have the person sign up. Some of the requirements would be that if you're not on the property, then you need to have some kind of property manager or a responsible person that can respond to claims against that property. So I understand, you've probably got neighbors where it's the neighbors are the problem, making noise or trespassing. In other areas, it's as simple as garbage. Like these people don't know that, they're from the city. They think they're leaving on Monday or Sunday and they put the trash out by the curb, not thinking anything about a bear coming and dragging it. Up in High Mount area, we're constantly getting calls about one particular parcel where, these people that are renting just put the garbage out and the garbage gets blown all over everybody else's property and they're forced to go and clean it up because these property owners are not responsible. But yes.
A transient, it says transient. Transient is the key word there. These are not full-time renters or full-time residents. They're transient. It said that is not acceptable in the zoning code. So I don't understand why. I understand the wedding venues are a wonderful thing for the community. There are consequences to these, some of this stuff, but and it brings income to the community, and that's great, you know, I think that's great, but like Ms. Grant said, it should be being done by the law, according to law, and the zoning, to me, it appears that a business that is transient is a business. And if you're operating in an R1 zone, it's a violation of whoever is the neighbor. And you're supposed to be protecting the community.
Understood, but if they're not, Harris, understand this, again, it's law. So if they're not a registered business, if they're the homeowner, and they step away from their home, you can rent for a weekend. If it goes on repeatedly, it's that gray area. They're not a registered business, but they're kind of renting out their house. Are they living in there? Are they having? Believe me, this is an issue that they're addressing. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm in agreement with you.
It's not even.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm just saying that it's a very gray area. And everybody's
I know there's a attorney general that's going to be working on this.
Because the other aspect is we have these things going on in commercial zones, or so you have businesses that are legitimately paying their taxes to do these operations, and then you have somebody who's just undercutting them because they can just have their apartment and they don't have any supervision, they don't have any commercial insurance. We had, and Chuck can attest to this, maybe Pete, about a couple of weeks ago, we had somebody that was renting as an Airbnb in somebody's residence and was not aware, and they started a fire inside the wall. They weren't aware of the construct of the building and what was going on. So these are serious issues, and that may have happened because there's no commercial inspection of that building for them to be prepared for this kind of usage, So Howie can probably, give him some time to get settled in, but this will be something that Howie's going to address, and certainly I would say go to the planning board and bring it to their attention to try to put their feet to the fire about getting something done to address this directly.
Well, the planning board is looking at different scenarios.
Let me throw something in. I know that through the county, Mike Hines' office has made it a priority to look into undocumented Airbnbs because of the tax revenue loss. They've hired a company to go through the county, and Shandaken's going to be a big blip on that screen, as is Woodstock. There's a lot of houses that are just used, they're bought and they're just used for Airbnb or VBR, whatever. They're going to be looked at and they're going to be contacted. So then the towns will be contacted and will be made aware of which residences are being rented out. We'll be able to go in that. We just can't, go to a house and knock on the door and say, hey, stop what you're doing. We don't know who's living there.
Is there a fine for violating the zoning law?
There is, but the zoning law issue is a gray area, like Rob said.
But isn't in Woodstock, aren't they coming down with certain rules and regulations about this because they have such prevalent Airbnb going on in neighborhoods?
So Woodstock, as far as I know, I don't know if you go to the meetings.
Oh yeah, Violet might.
I think what it was is that they restricted, and they labeled it something. They labeled it like temporary rentables or something along those lines. They put it in a box, basically. They got it in a box somehow, and they said it's not allowable in certain districts, and they just flat out did that. But there's still plenty of Airbnbs going on in some residential zones. Like it's like
undocumented. You don't know.
Some of them you don't have
And
documentation.
then what if we take it up to the next level and they start having weddings? I mean, who do you
See,
call
that's what I'm
them?
saying. If you know somebody's holding weddings on a residential parcel without having a legitimate business or being registered, then that needs to be brought to the code enforcement's office.
And who would that be? Because I have.
That would be Howie now.
Well, I'm sorry, he's gonna have to hit the ground running on this one.
There you go. Start you right out. So,
No, there's a lot
I'm
of
sorry to have to bring
no,
this to you.
that's fine.
I've been
Harris-
doing this for 30 years.
wedding at their personal residence.
I don't think that's.
Hey, that's not what he's complaining about. If you have a wedding at your personal residence once, that's great. But if it's a repeated offense, like you're doing it every
If you're
weekend,
making money as a wedding venue.
if you put up a website and you're going, come stay at our place and have your wedding.
First of all, that's a huge thing for insurance purposes too. I mean, there's so many things that opens up that it's really.
Well, if you have an LLC, which I hear a lot of these people are doing, they're going to the LLC, they're not even,
Get into
they're
business.
hiding behind a limited liability corporation. And how does that help the neighbors who are paying their taxes and living in the community and trying to contribute and follow
I think that's
rules.
gonna be one of the number one topics that people are gonna be talking about going forward.
Yeah,
I really do, because there's so many happening, and it seems like it's being more and more, and there's gotta be some kind of way to make it work and make a still community offer Airbnbs on a limited basis, and still let the hotels and the real bona fide bed and breakfast do their business. And, you know, they pay a lot of taxes and they need those reservations. And,
I've heard of communities where they've said they've actually limited the number of them that they allow within their community.
Well, that's
So it's
what
like
I'm
first come,
saying.
first serve.
well, I think there should be a limited number based on the density of the community. And then that limited number should have a number put on that permit that they're paid for. And that permit will pay for someone to oversee the Airbnbs and make sure that they're safe and regulated. And if there's complaints, more than 3 complaints, they lose their permit.
well, what if there's a shared driveway?
Well, there's all kinds of issues.
Yeah, that's a whole
But that
nother-
would have to be a
a whole
person
other ball.
A
responsible.
whole other, I mean, yeah, well,
Yeah,
well, that, you know, that's.
but anyways, I think it's
I
a
know,
big
you know,
conversation.
It's just getting the properties noticed and registered is just a whole ball of wax that we have
It's
to do.
Uber,
Yeah.
it's an Uber world.
And to add more, I mean, again, Howie is just brand new to this, but Warren was complaining about the workload and how much the workload was increasing. So now you add these Airbnbs and do these temporary revocable permits, as we're saying, that's gonna require commercial fire inspections, which is performed by the code officer. So he has to go to each of these buildings, just, I think it's on every 3 years minimum to inspect those. So now you add that onto the workload as well. So it's something that you have to find a way to make it feasible, to not infringe on certain people's civil liberties, but at the same time be respectful of the community they're set up in. And honestly, again, from Pine Hill, I can speak to the loss of neighborhood. Like, the people buy these houses, there may be sometimes they're not a resident, they're just renting them out willy-nilly on weekends, and there's no neighborhood.
They're never
Kids
here.
grow up.
And speaking as a person looking for a new home, it's hard to find a place to live because all the places are nabbed up for Airbnb.
And there's no rentals available anymore
Yeah.
for people, hardworking people who are trying to make a living and they want to live here. There's no affordable rentals.
So it's gotta come to a head at some point. Again, I would say come to the planning board meeting and make the same comment you made here, and just try to get them working towards some objective. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Any other public comments? No? I'd like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Paul Davis, Pat Ford, Maria Brooks, Roger Berrien, John Martinez, and Michael Colangelo. Motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rick is gonna be really mad when he gets here. I believe he bought it.
Thank you. They
I will. Oh, you There's never been